knock off a couple. He's still going. Butler over in the corner. That's the line, over the line he rolls. Burnside, Collegians have turned it over. He's got it again. He's got to go. Spry will do very well. Spry will go out. Port Adelaide will push out, and they will push on to it. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us again. I'm still Dave Webb. I'm joined in commentary this afternoon by Tom Hankey. How are you, Tom?
Good afternoon, Dave. Yeah, very well, thank you, mate. Very well. It's certainly getting a little bit drizzly out there, just in time for kick-off, but we should be in for a very intriguing game here today.
Well, we did have a little shower just before. It's cleared up a little bit. We hope it stays clear, but as we mentioned in the previous game, Donald Bradman Patch is in full bloom today.
Yeah, certainly is. That middle bit doesn't really look very forgiving, yeah, so prepare for a couple of errors today, but they'll yeah, certainly will be some intriguing viewing. So yeah, it should be pretty good. Both teams won one and lost one, both incidentally losing to reigning premiers Brighton as well. But you know, it's a local rivalry, be hotly contested on the pitch today. College looking to get back on track, but they face a Burnside team that's home advantage and looking to make it 2 wins on the bounce.
Well, it's going to be the first time I'm going to call it today, the Battle of Green Hill Road. It is. It's one of those local rivalries, and you look at South Australian rugby and you look at the local rivalries in South Australian rugby. Port Woodville is definitely one that you would put up there. But Burnside, not geographically, but over the last couple of years has certainly taken on a life of its own. But this one,
yeah, this one. So I mean, I think from previous experience in playing in the game myself, it's always been very friendly off the pitch, but on the pitch, it's as intense as any rivalry that you'll see in this state. But yeah, there's certainly ones across that always pique some intrigue, and this one definitely is up there with the rest of them.
It is one I'm looking forward to. We are flying blind a little bit at the moment. We have no team sheets, but most of these people should be household names by now, so we'll work it out. And as soon as I manage to get my list up and running and where I need it to be, we'll be fine. Any massive outs for you? And there is quite a big out, isn't there, from the back row in Zach Ellis, who is sitting down for a couple of weeks for disciplinary issues.
Yes,
so
he is, yep.
Been a bit of a reshuffle at the back row? Yeah,
a bit of a reshuffle. So it's one of the ones who has come into his own recently. He had a really, really good game last week, and the week before for the twos against Brighton is Kiru. And he's, you look at him and you don't really expect an awful lot, and I mean that in the most respectful way, but he punches well above his weight. He's a really good asset in the line-out. And he's definitely one to watch. He really, really is.
Other than that, I would assume we're pretty much unchanged from where we were 2 weeks ago. I just want to touch on, you did mention that, both of these teams one-on-one at the moment, 1-1, lost one. Mm-hmm. Like you said, both of those losses have come at the hands of Brighton.
Yep.
We talked after the Brighton game, off camera, obviously, we talked after the Brighton game, and we said that Brighton, in that first week, their tries came from moments,
yep.
Whereas you seem to try and build a lot more.
Yep.
And it appears that the old Coles game was rinse and repeat for Brighton. They're just moments. And losing a game in red time, it's got to be hard to bounce back from. They would have had a week at work.
Mm. Yeah, and from Coles' perspective as well, it's something that they would have worked really hard on over the course. It's just, and I think it was mentioned in the commentary by the co-commentators there. It was always on a knife edge, and yes, you can build a lead, and yes, you can look relatively in control. But Brighton came into that in the last, I think it was the last 10 really that really brought it on and snatched the victory from the jaws of defeat.
It's almost uncharted territory for Brighton to be starting off a season 2-0. It's not what we're used to. We're used to seeing them sort of drop points at the beginning of the year, and then they'll come home with a really wet sail towards the end of the season. But to start 2-0, and the dangerous Fijians, they've kept Joe. Obviously, they lost one of the centre. I think he went over east and started playing, got some really decent offers from Rugby League. And the fullback, Thakao, deciding he wants to sit down for a year.
Yep.
Still out there. But certainly, as we look at it now, they are the ones you want to look at and think about.
Yeah, 2 from 2. It's always the case that, you know, we've seen before, though, in years gone by, that a great start doesn't always amount to a brilliant finish. So, you know...
Is that the Burnside motto?
Oh, mate, look, it's obviously gutting, and it's something that does hit home. I'll say this as well. I mean, it's when you reach the finals of a season, it takes an awful lot out of you mentally. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and commitment. It's a massive toll emotionally to lose in that grand final. It's a huge mentality that you need to have as a person, as a club, to get yourself, pick yourself up, and go again. To then do that the following year. It's you know, I think we're in a situation now where we've had the loss. The Brighton game was a wake-up call for us, and I'm saying us because primarily a Burnside hat on. And I'd say that the application in training in the last couple of weeks has been much better. So fingers crossed. Well, you know, I'll try and remain impartial, but
you'd be the first. I will give you that,
yeah.
Tom. You'd be the first one who sits next to me and is impartial. It's absolutely, it's fine. People expect it now. We have explained it enough until we're blue in the face. Our co-commentator is generally from the home team, and you have to expect a little bit of nepotism. But you know, Tom will be, and we'll talk about it more because clearly you're not out there, so
no.
It's still that back is playing up a little bit.
Yep, still being a bit of a rascal.
So
hopefully we'll have some definitive answers on that in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's time will tell on that one. So we shall see. Well, enjoying the role as a social secretary anyway, which is probably more my main fight.
Well, I've made my offer to you. So we'll work it out whether you.
I'm not playing gridiron, mate.
So we are off and running. And it looks like Burnside and Walton are going to come up with the ball first off. And they will want to start quickly.
Which they have done relatively well. I mean, so the first game against Brighton got off the mark really, really quickly. And whilst they went behind in the early stages of the game against Onkers, that for me, that first half an hour was as best a Burnside team as I've actually seen in a long, long time.
So they will look into midfield. Just try and find an opening. Inside ball. Not quite there. There is Brown flying through that clear out. But we have started as if there is a lot depending on this. This is week 3 of the season, but there is a heck of a lot. Like we've said, the Battle of Greenhill Road is nothing to be sniffed at.
Not at all.
Out to Hamilton. He will send it into midfield. He is met hard in midfield and sent backwards. Green is also met, but finally it's going to come out to Hamilton. And then we'll look out to that far right-hand side to Lamsam. Lamsam looking for a little bit of space. Didn't really find any. Walton just leaves it behind. Whistle has gone a little knock on. So first set piece of the day, is going to be Old Collegians ball.
Well, really intriguing actually. So last week watching Old Coles against Brighton, and they look really, really powerful in the set piece. So this is going to be an interesting one. There's a few old battles that are resuming here as well. I was speaking before the game kicked off to Tim Dawes of Old Coles, and yeah, I don't think he was particularly excited about the prospect of facing Louis Fagan.
Well, we'll have a look. It's our first chance to have a look at these boys go at it, and then I will leave this all to you, Tom, as you are a purveyor of the dark arts. Good scrum from Burnside, strong scrum from Burnside. Looks like it's going to end up back on their side, which it does. Sambrook wearing the number 5.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at that now, actually, because my thoughts leading into the game was that he was going to be heading back into the back row. But obviously the change in personnel with Zach Ellis's ban or his suspension for his, to say, sitting down for 2 weeks, So it looks as though, so he's wearing number 5, but it looks as though he's playing at number 8.
It looks like he is at number 8. So I'm just trying to work out where we go. I think that puts Marshall in the second row.
Yeah, that's correct, yep. So Blair's gone into the second row.
He won't like that, will he?
He'll be okay with that, mate. Yeah, he's
secretly,
look,
secretly inside.
He'll be absolutely fine. Look, he's a leader by example, and I think that if you ask him to do a job for you somewhere, he'll absolutely do that. He's a real credit to the club.
So just reset the scrum.
So it's a good first scrum really from Burnside. They got the pressure on, and what's really important within that as well is that it's really easy when you've got tight heads and you've got the advantage on at the scrum, and if it's not your ball, if it's gone to the back, that you can just leave off for a bit. They've kept up the pressure, they forced an error, and it's really then about what you can do in that phase following that. So yeah, very good.
A lot of the play early minutes is going through Hamilton. But a penalty which will relieve the pressure for Old Collegians.
So another notable change for Burnside is that Chris Hodgson has come in at 10 for Keanu from last week. So different style of play. Chris will typically organise people around him. He's got excellent hands, really good distributor of the ball, and he makes, he knows what he's doing. He makes some real decisions. Keanu plays a little bit more on the fly, plays up to the line, and just opens up some gaps and plays people into the spaces that he creates. But yeah, it's certainly really good to see Hodge back out there as well.
Ball at the back to man and just lost it. It's difficult to describe the conditions at the moment. The ball isn't wet, and sometimes when it's wet it's okay because you concentrate a little bit more. It's not wet, it's just damp. And I think that's, players are just taking the mind off it a little bit. Good line out though from Old Collegians, going to the back to Gary Mann. But it's a nice dilemma for Wayne Vincent to have at Burnside as to which number 10 he picks week in, week out. Both of them, I think the conditions would probably say that, Keanu, you'd play him possibly a little bit further back. Ball snaffled up by Old Collegians. It turned over again. Sandbrook runs into his own man. Just a little bit scrappy from both teams in the opening stanza of this one.
Yeah, just both teams trying to put a foothold on the game. Early pressure has definitely been in Burnside's favour. Most of the game's been played in the Old Coles half. So not a bad start, but again, it's just we'll get to stages where now the scrum will probably be not a bad situation for us, either offensively or defensively.
So another big scrum. Old Collegians have to get this one right. So they're going to use it, which they will. Now they'll come out to this near side. The kick turns Green around. Good step. You just saw there, your footing has to be absolutely right today. Sandbrook pulls it out the back. Another kick. Just both teams now are trying to settle and just trying to find and want to play in the right areas. Old Cole's probably tired of playing in their own 22.
But yeah, that's what Hodge will do. That's what he gives you. It's that very territorial. He looks at territorial gains, so he'll put the ball in areas where he thinks we've got a chance either to retain it or just put the opposition under some pressure once they've collected the ball.
Old Cole's actually managing to put a little bit together. Just some nice pick and drive work from Old Coles into midfield. Out the back again. Now they have got a little bit of space. They'll get it out to Kurtzer. What can Kurtzer do against Green? He'll beat him, and he will go. And the first point of the game will go to Old Coles. Young man who made the transition from South to Old Coles this year will open the scoring.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. So that's come from a couple of series of rucks, of quick rucks and quick ball that's come just slow build up from Old Collegians. Then they've got the ability there to hurt you out wide, which they've done. And yeah, guys showing some good power and pace to get across, get past Green on that occasion and slot into the try.
That's a heck of a finish from the young man, because Green is not a weak defender, but again he just did the old in and out, got him. And Kurtzer looked dangerous last year, and has shown us very early in this one that he is.
Yeah, he certainly looks like a threat early doors.
He's going to look like he's going to try and convert his own try. Just away behind the posts is Rob Smedley, who's been groomed over the last couple of years, you would think, as a future head coach of Old Coles. Drives it, did not come the way he wanted it to come. Speaking to Piet Arnold before the game, both of us have a history with Piet. Very good coach in his own right, and I think on paper, I think he's still the coach this year. No one really knows who is who, but he was talking to me about Rob Smedley and how he wants him now to start taking over and really take over the reins of this A-grade side.
Yeah, well, Rob has always, again, he's been an astute student of the game. I've been, I've spent some time with Rob on interstate tours, and he knows the game really well. He's extremely passionate about it. So yeah, I would expect that he would make that transition from player into coach. And speaking to Piet early doors, just at an outside CPD, he did say that he was gradually just stepping down and looking at less of a responsibility, but yet certainly sees that he's about, and Rob's under some good stewardship there from Piet.
So they are still going again, and Van Dissel will roll around the corner. Devlin will look for a little bit more. Out to Hamilton, short ball to Walton. He gave himself up straight away, didn't he?
Yeah, he knew what he was doing there. It's a bit of a silly one to give. I've not really seen Coles competing at breakdown an awful lot in the opening exchanges of this game, but an opportunity now for Burnside to reduce the lead and get 3 points on the board.
I mean, we are very early doors we're very early stages of this one, but it feels the same. It feels like Burnside are doing all the building. They're putting the building blocks in place.
Yeah, and then the try has come from a moment. But let's not take credit away from Coles, because the try that they've done, they built it up. It was very well executed, punched up a couple of times in the middle of the field, and then brought it out wide. And yeah, it was a very, very well worked try.
It's the conversation between Mr. Jackson and Mr. Lamson. Certainly not the last, and won't be the first, you don't think?
Not if Nigel
Definitely
has
not the
anything to do with
first. Has he dropped goaling a penalty?
it. It looks like he is, yeah.
I mean, they all count, but I don't think I've ever seen that. That is certainly something I've never seen in my life.
Must be an issue with no tee on the sideline or something along the lines of that. But look, he dispatched it with quality, so not going to question that at all. Really, really well done. And now we are back into the game, and a chance for Collegians to keep the ball down in the Burnside half.
I think it's 7 points to 5.
I think he missed the kick.
Oh, he did miss the kick, so 5 points to 3.
5-3, yeah.
Of course he did. You're way on top of it. It's the only reason you're here. Sunbrook will collect the kick. Lamsam wanted to look blind and just left behind in midfield by Burnside and turned over. Can Old Cole strike back straight away? They're going to look out to that left-hand side. Dawes straightens. And a little pick and drive. Brown got there, but that was unceremoniously dumped out of the way. Out to Mann. Mann will look for a little bit of a gap. Finds one. That's too easy for Gary Mann. No one actually took control and wanted to take over that.
No.
Just ran that outside line. And I think the threat of Kurtzer had a bit to do with that as well.
Yeah, it was a bit of a frustrating one. And again, trying to remain impartial, but you know, it's not going to happen. A frustrating one to give away. The first bit in the build-up to that, Old Coles had looked to go onto the left side of the pitch, and actually the space was really shut down by the defence on the outside, just arcing round in that sort of curtain. Really good stuff and good line speed from Chris Walton, so it's forced them back the other way, and they've managed to get a result out of that as well.
Well, that's the channel that Gary likes to run in. He's wearing the number 6 but playing number 8, and he really likes that outside channel. It's like the loose forward rugby league channel where they run between the 5 and the 15. And he can cause some damage there, as we've just seen.
Yeah.
So Kurtzer will look to add on the extras. It's a little bit further out than his one before. Has he learned anything from the last one? Yes, he has, but he's just pulled it the other way. So 10 points to 3. Not the start that Wayne Vincent would want to have, but certainly the start that Messrs Arnold and Smedley would want.
Yeah, the start wasn't, hasn't been overly too bad from Burnside at all. They've had a lot of decent pressure in the Coles half, and again, it's some moments, really well worked moments, but it's another breakaway, and it is just a disappointing one to concede, but plenty of resolve within the boys, and there's a lot of time to go, and we've seen again over last week circumstances whereby it just doesn't take too long to turn around a deficit.
So Hodgson gets the chance to nudge them down into that far corner, and a little bit of a silly one. So the smile that might have been on the faces, at least inwardly, for Messrs Arnold and Smedley, just gets wiped off a little bit as Walton was bundled to the floor as he chased the kick. Tell you what, Brown did well to get a finger on that, because that was going straight to the hands of Old Coles, and they'll get a free kick. And they've asked for a scrum.
Yep, not surprised here.
They have been solid, and it's certainly a platform that they can build from.
Yeah, no, it's been a very well-versed strength for Burnside over the last couple of years as well. It's something that they work on quite a lot, and we've seen in games before, even at the start of the season, where they've used it as a weapon. So they'll look to get a bit of a trundle on here and see what they can make from it.
And Benja, in the old parlance, has chalk on his boots. He's right out here. Immelman to Hodgson to Hamilton. Nice ball from Hamilton on the outside to Barker. Backs to the wall, stuff for Old Collegians. Lamsam sits in at halfback, passes to nobody, but Green will clean it up.
There we go.
And Green will score. And Old Coles will bite back. I think Lamsam will take that one as an assist, even though it was one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my life.
It was absolutely meant. Bounce pass.
The old
completely intentional.
The old Barnes Wallace. And Green, in the traditional method, will get his tee. So bad, a good finish. Lovely ball from Hamilton.
Yeah, really nice inside ball, and Tony Barker, strong as an ox. He'll always make good yards in those positions, and yeah, really well class bit of well class. It was a very class bit of play. And again, we talked about it earlier on, but that platform at scrum time has served Burnside very well leading into that.
So Green will look to tack on the extras. Good hands for a prop, Hemo.
Oh, he'll love you for that. I think his front row days have long gone.
So Fraser Green will look to tack on the extras. Which he does.
Good nudge.
And a correction, I believe, for Fraser Green, did not have surgery on his cheek.
No, so I pulled you up on that
You
the other
did,
day.
yeah.
I must say that it wasn't something that he pulled you up on, but it was that we pulled up on when we watched the commentary after that game.
You
No, he
got-
didn't. Because you said we hadn't seen him since the end of last season, which was the final, and this was the first game. So I'm sitting there thinking, what?
Well, I thought we hadn't seen him yet. Don't question it.
No, it's a tough job you got, mate.
So it is an interesting one, and Nakamoko, who's wearing the number 8, is
Yep.
going to restart, and you've really got to send it out there
Yeah, no.
because that's a long, long kick.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's a good kick. He's again, he's a very skilled kicker of the ball. You see him occasionally throughout the course of the season, and certainly in seasons previous as well, where he's taken on kicking duties and kicking for goal. It is something that he practices. I have seen several posts of his on social media where he's practicing his kicking. So he not surprised by that at all.
Marshall will send it out, and there's a lot of space out there. Puts it on the boot. Into in. Sheds the first one, which is good. Old Cole's looking again to have to build from a long, long way back. Oh, looked a bit messy over there, but finally we get some rugby being played.
Nice, good play.
Oh, now they've got a little bit of time and space, and Kurtzer 2-on-1. Can they find him? They do find him. Kurtzer versus Green again. Green gets him that time. Offload just didn't quite work for him, and Hodgson will go. Oh, stolen! Man must have Liverpool blood in him.
What, for stealing?
Yeah.
It's not a hubcap, mate.
I thought I'd get in there before you
yeah,
did.
yeah, it was going to come at some time. But look, again, really good play again from Coles on that. So, you know, got the ball to them. They've had some. You've got to say they've had some audacity to play it out from that close into their danger zone as well. And here they are. They've trucked up over the halfway line. Good tackle from Fraser, and it's yeah. Again, suddenly it's just the pendulum has just swung. It's right back down into Burnside territory now.
I think that's going to be a battle that we're going to see most of the day, Kurtzer versus Green.
Yeah, I think
and
you're
it's
right.
1-1 at the moment.
Yep.
But you would say that Kurtz is winning it on points. But I think we'll see that a lot, and that's a massive threat, especially out on this wing. They got themselves in a 2-on-1, and Green managed to make the tackle.
Yeah, he did.
Just
yeah,
a
good
player
covering tackle.
slow to get up in midfield for Burnside. I can't quite see who it is.
Is that Jacob? I think that might be down on the floor at the moment. Jacob Devlin.
It does look very much like Jacob Devlin, and it is him, and he's not moving brilliantly. Callum Walton, it has to be said, is in absolutely fine form today.
I can imagine that
on the
there's
social
probably
media.
something coming in my direction about that. isn't there?
I'm not going to give him the oxygen that he so clearly needs.
Can I just have a look?
Yeah, have a. Definitely will make way. And we're going to start with a scrum.
For someone who's supposed to be so far away, he feels like he's irritatingly very near.
So another scrum. And someone's saying it looks soft underfoot, and what I would say is that it's quite good apart from the middle. The middle is shocking because it's that horrid. Like the stuff on the top is sloppy, and then underneath it, it's hard.
Yeah, it seems as though no matter what we try, and we try this year in, year out, where it's something that we try and look after and contain over the course of off-season and pre-season, and it doesn't get touched. But no matter what you do and no matter what we've tried, it just always, at this stage of the season, always ends up in the with the same look and the same condition. So, no, I think that's just something that we've got to learn to live with, and you know, possibly try and use to an advantage, because we do train in it very regularly.
That's a one heck of a run from the old Collegians winger. Like I said, I'm flying behind with old Coles at the moment.
Yeah, very sweeping game at the moment, really end to end.
Slow ball again, does manage to find its way out, and again to this near side. Man takes two. There's an old Coles player slow to get up in midfield as well, but Dawes will rumble forwards. Lost it. So there is an old Coles player.
Yeah, looks like a tight head.
Again, I'm sorry, I can't give you names at the moment. Our microphone just attaching some of our younger fans. I've got a feeling we're going to get a cameo from him at some point, unless Dad keeps in control. Dad's doing a great job. So we wait.
They'll probably
for this
get more
one.
sense out of him than they would do us, mate.
Yeah, probably. So we're just going to wait for the scrum and see what happens.
Yep.
Rather delayed one. He doesn't look to be moving very well at all, and there is going to be a change. Now, Tom, being a member of the Union
Club.
of the Dark Arts,
The front row club.
what's the chances that he's already played a game today?
Yeah, possibly so. So the fella coming on, it looks as though he may well have already backed up, potentially. If I was the guy that's coming off now, I'd be heading straight up to that clubhouse for a beer and a pie. So I'll keep my eye on him, see if he can bring me one whilst he's at it.
Yeah. Can I point out, I've held off on it for a couple of weeks now. Well, actually, this is the second week I've done it. I held off on it. The referee shirts, I love the referee shirts. Now they had them redone because when they took the shirts and you couldn't see what it was and it just looked like a funky pattern. There's a map of South Australia on the shirts.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, you'll see it next time. They are fantastic shirts. Thanks once again to O'Neill's, who seem to be running the monopoly on the A-grade shirts, at least this year. Great people over at O'Neill's. Tell you what, even if you don't need a rugby kit.
How much they paid you for that advertisement?
Not at all. Still waiting for it. Marshall. Jeez, he came on the long run up.
Yeah,
From the boundary fence came Marshall.
Does make some yards throughout games, doesn't Blair?
And you pull it back to Hodgson. Hodgson decided he wanted to just have a rumble and get muddy.
Yep.
Letting fly halves down the world over. And they will go again out to Hamilton. Loops it out. Fleetwood Piper there to meet him. So there has been a change at back row, and don't know whether we're going to see Devlin again. Out to Marshall. Marshall will show and then just put the foot down. Caught from behind by two. Out to Green. Looped it around. Sambrook. Another player that loves to run in that outside channel.
And again, it doesn't look like he is that kind of player, but he is really, really tough to
Hodgson
put down.
to Lamsam, to Hamilton, to Walton. Walton shows it, stood his winger up slightly, it's one-on-one. Kurtzer does well. Lamsam will step in, and he will go to the left-hand side. Nice low body angle, try given.
Good work, and it looks like, to me, that looks like it was that Carl Popplewell's try as well, who's just come off
It's the big fella who just come on with
yeah,
the beard.
just come on for Jacob Devlin, so our very own Jesus, and he's had a game as well for the twos before that, playing at centre. So
all the stamina comes from the beard, Tom. All comes from the beard. It's a good finish, and Lamsam again. He absolutely adores getting into that halfback position, doesn't he? I've seen him on the wing a couple of times today.
Pops up here, there, and everywhere. Nigel does, and but again, the build up to that try really, really well worked. So a couple of heavy carries, a couple from Blair, one from Kieran Sandbrook as well. But we're seeing this all the way across the pitch at the moment from both sides. It's a really, really sweeping. There's some really sweeping attacks. Some impressive stuff, and actually, so 15-10 in the early exchanges. It's exactly what I think we all expected.
So a tough one for Green. First one was good. Let's see whether he does the same with this one. Sets it off, brings it round. Flags go up. That's about as good as it gets, ladies and gentlemen, from a conversion kick point of view. So 17 points to 10. The sun has broken through the clouds. Okamoka making a change and then going from the far side of the patch straight down the throat of Lamsam. Lamsam looking for a little bit of space.
Bless you.
Yes, thank you. I thought I might have got away with that. Through the hands of Van Dissel and worked anyway to Hamilton. Then they will come out near side to Benja. Benja by a couple of old Coles players, had a lot of Kyle Fleetwood-Piper to deal with. Immelman will send it into Van Dissel. Again to Hodgson, to Sandbrook, standing in 12, looking for the offload. Does manage to give it. Now they will go out to the far side, Hamilton. Oh, it's a knock on and a half.
Yeah, some good build-up play from Burnside there, putting the phases through together really nicely. It seems in cases as well, when you're looking at it from the outskirts, that it's going from wide to wide, really testing the outside channels there as well. But again, some powerful carries right up in the middle to give him some territorial gain. Really good game of rugby. I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
It is a good game of rugby. 17 points to 10, and where are we time-wise? Entering the last 10 minutes of this first half. But it's been back and forward, you would say, and certainly Old Coles are never out of this.
No.
And Burnside have in the past, and I apologise, but Burnside have in the past been weak on this left-hand wing, and obviously with Fleetwood-Piper and Kurtzer out here, it's certainly something that the boys from just down the road will want to key on. The kick will go, that's far too much on it. Yeah. And they will go, well, he's inside, it must have been inside the 22. Thought it was carried back, but certainly someone's asking the question as to whether that was carried back in.
I think Snoop, once he's made his decision, that's...
it's not going to change, is it? But
it's
certainly looked outside.
Yeah, tough to see from here at ground level.
But you're right, once that decision's made, that decision's made. Good from Brown, off the top, but not straight.
No, just slightly not.
Chris Walton asking his dad whether he was sure.
Oh, that's not his dad, that's Callum's dad.
This has been an ongoing joke between the three of us,
okay,
hasn't it?
missed out on that.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's certainly very like people with the surname Walton to complain and moan about something. So
God, I feel like I'm in the middle of a personal argument here.
No. I just miss him secretly.
So another scrum, and it's close to us, this one, so we get to have a look at what's going on. I think both of our starting, or certainly one of our starting props has gone, and Dis will certainly look to dominate that one.
Yeah, no, it's it will certainly be, again, it's a front row thing, so you are embroiled in a one-on-one contest in your own set way throughout the duration of a game. So the fact that there's one guy, it might not have come from the scrum, but the fact that he's one guy down already will be a tick in the box next to him. So he's now got to go to work on a fresh reserve. But he handles himself very well at set piece time, does Jono van Dissel.
The old Cole's replacement managed to sort himself out in that one. Then they will go out wide again. Geez, when they get going, they get going. And that's Kurtzer over on that far side, and then they'll push it back inside. And just like that, old Coles will fight back.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be something I'm going to say. Burnside fight back, old Coles fight back. It's going, but geez, when they get going, they get going.
Yeah, again, another really sweeping move, and I keep saying it, but it keeps on happening. So you've got to call it as you see. And it's come from a set piece whereby they didn't have overall dominance on it, but nonetheless they've shown some really good hands and some good quality to get out of there, and they got some very good finishes in the squad as well. But we've seen a lot of action on both wings so far, and we're in for a really high scoring game.
Oh, I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
the only problem is they're playing on the wings, so they get further and further away from us as they do it. It's certainly a great riposte by old Collegians. And Kurtzer, who is getting his name called and causing Burnside all sorts of issues defensively, is going to try and tack on the extras, which would tie us up in the shadows of half-time. Sends it on the way. The flags stay down, so 17-15.
Yeah, they're difficult, really difficult kicks to nail for sure. I think all three of his kicks so far have come out from really wide positions. But yeah, certainly again they're putting themselves into some really good positions and scoring some good tries. So can't really call it at the moment. Again, the pendulum swings again. It could go either way. So again, we'll look to see what happens now if Burnside can regain some territory down here.
Oh, and a mistake from kickoff.
If they got time,
knock on.
I don't know how much longer we've got left.
Well, I reckon we've got 6 minutes plus.
Yeah, so this is a scrum in a really good position for Burnside here, given what they've made out of the previous couple of scrums as well.
Decent blindside as well, if they want it. The old 8-9-15. You know, there's certain moves in rugby that just should be universally called the same, and everyone knows when you're going to do it. You've just got to stop it. The Gregan ball, the 8-9-15.
Yeah, well, that Gregan that hurt Burnside in the game against Brighton as well. That's a shame.
Oh, that's a big knock.
Yeah.
It's a big knock on for him, because now old Coles will have chance. That's the teeny Oliver asking whether we're showing the kids at half time. The plan is to at least lock off the camera for them. Whether Tom and I will talk through it, I don't know. So 2 points in it.
And again, they're really having a go at playing this from...
Again, the winger gets caught. Kurtzer should have the pace to beat one. Then he will come back inside. Doesn't quite manage it. But that's more than once that they've found the winger on this near side. I think it's Benja on this near side, and more than once he's found himself lost and in a 2-on-1 situation, and there's nothing he can do at that point. Old Cole's rolling around again. Lamsam was quick to it. Mokomoko will look to try and just settle things down. Man looking for his favourite position. Big blast on the whistle. Penalty not releasing. But, you know, part of the problem as well is it's because it's happening over this side. I'm sure that Mr. Vincent is aware of it, but too many times you have to say that.
Yeah, but so if you look at in some, they are overloading on certain sides as well. Collegians, it's up to the rest of the. So you know, whilst Benja's playing on that side on the left-hand wing, there are 14 other people out there that can help him out.
And that's phase one from a set play as well. So somebody's missing someone somewhere.
But again, I mean, you could probably just line it up, and you've got to now expect, given the couple of times that they've done it, that Coles are going to give it a red hot crack at trying to run it out from their own, in between their own 22. And you probably set yourself up as a player to expect the kick. It's not happening. So, look, fair play to them. They're playing it heads up. They're looking and seeing that there's an opportunity and making good yards, you've got to say.
So again, Burnside back to the bottom of the hill and building again. Walton to Brown. Brown does well against the big red.
Yeah, he does.
Talked about punching above his weight.
Yeah, I said at the early start that he does do that, and he's shown himself over the course of pre-season in the first couple of games that he's played in that he's not out of sorts at all. He's going to be a really, really important player for the club in years to come. And I think that he is just fresh out of under-18s as well.
Yeah, I think this is the first year. He was dispensated to play up last year as an under-18, but unfortunately that meant that he was playing at the same time as a lot of the senior teams. And this is his first year as an over-18. But so Green's going to take over the kicking duties, and they're going to try and get this. Just push out their lead to 5 points. So Green will line himself up. Relatively simple one compared to the last couple. Takes his time over it. Can't get that one. Kurtzer will put it down. And they're very, very close to half time now. Thinking about it and thinks better of it.
One thing I wanted to point out as well about Burnside, I'm pretty sure looking at it that the entirety of their back line are all homegrown players. They've all come up through Burnside, through the club.
Well, that's a big, that's a nice trivia.
Yeah.
It's a nice trivia stat, but that's big. Oh, massive challenge in midfield from Mann. Now they're going to look to build again. Hamilton, flat pass to Hodgson to Green. Green will take on Fleetwood Piper, tries to send it out the back door. That's going to go. We're going back for a penalty. I was about to say that will probably be half time. But we are going back for a penalty. Which way is it going? Burnside way. Just an offside. So what do you do if you're Burnside? Do you push it into the corner and look for the line? Do you tap and go? Clemson, I think, tap and go every single penalty from anywhere on the pitch, wouldn't he, really?
Yeah, quick tap from his own try line, I think, sometimes, Nigel. If it's on, it's on.
So Walton will have to hit his target. Driving maul comes from them. Ball will be somewhere around Lamsam, and just as I say that, I see it appear in his hand. Dawes has done very, very well to get himself in the way, though. Immelman to Marshall. Marshall just runs straight at them. Didn't really make that much of an impact. Then they were going to come back to Walton. Walton finds the door shut. All a bit scrappy. Marshall again gets a better gap than he did the last time. There's lots of old Coles players underneath him though. Arm is out. Something's coming for Burnside. Probably a penalty. Lamsam, short ball. And there he goes. Popplewell will roll over the line and he will score.
So 2 for Jesus.
Well, he's on a hat-trick.
Oh, crikey.
And that was just knocking at the door, and eventually it's got to open.
Yeah, it was, and really good patient build-up play from Burnside there, and a couple of really key carries again from Blair Marshall. Line out decision seems vindicated without a shadow of a doubt, and they've just kept going and just kept creeping towards the line. Sucked in quite a lot of old Coles players as well who committed to that breakdown, and then Coles just popped out and managed to bag himself his second try.
Yeah, and we'll just wait and see. Well, I mean, the line out at the end of the half is there's no real other option. There's no other option at all, really. And then, like you say, the decision paid off. And so we have reached half time. We have reached half time, and the score 22 points to 15 Burnside's way. Now there will be some little under-8s running around on the field. I think we've got to take a short break, and we'll try and get back to them when we can. So we'll step away shortly, and then we'll try and get back so we can see some of the under-8s running around. So welcome back. We're going to let the little ones run around. I'm going to hand over to Nigel, who's going to look after us for a bit so I can have a little bit of a break. Nigel, the table is yours.
Thank you very much. The kids are out there half-time. We've done this a few times in the past with old Collegians. It's a bit of a trend now. We traditionally have the under-8s come out. The kids love it. It's a bit of an eye-opener for some of the parents because they realise how fast some of the kids are out wide. We've got 7 aside today. Waiting for the kick-off now. We'll go through the names in a moment. That's Willis. He's just picked up the ball. Willis is one of our star props. He's traditionally takes 2 or 3 to bring him down. Flynn is our wide. Normally he plays out wide for us, but we've realised recently that Flynn's probably got some legs that are probably better used inside the field. Flynn again in there. I think that's Ellis in there and Xander. We've got Ellis. Oh, well done. Lovely try. Ellis scored in the try there and very, very well followed in there by Xander. It's always good to see with kids at this age when we've got them following the correct principles of rugby. We do speak with them quite frequently on always chase your mate. Doesn't matter who's going to score the try. It matters more that there's 2, 3 other people there assisting him, making sure that it's going to be a safe try. Old Collegians kick off. Well done, Willis in there again. Gyrell's fresh to our team this year. Oh, we've held it up here, we've brought it back. Unfortunate there for Archie, he had some space to run into, and I think he had about 4 or 5 steps. So that would have most certainly been one chalked up for him. Kicks going out wide here. We've got Louis. Louis traditionally plays in a grade a little bit lower, but he's also wasted down there. Lottie Duffy coming back in. Her dad coaches with us. Lottie's to Willis. Well done, guys. Look at the Collegians' defence here. I think you've got 4 people in front of the ball. Beautiful. Collegians, as a result of that, they've picked that ball up. Willis desperately trying to move the ball out wide. We've got Josh there. Josh has joined us this year from Canada. We've got Flynn going for the chase here. Lovely legs, Flynn, unfortunate. Well done. Once again, though, a beautiful try for Archie from Collegians. Lovely, lovely legs. Good body position out wide there. He's certainly going to be an asset to them. They need to keep Archie. Coming in there, Coach Dan trying to marshal the troops. We have discussed on many occasions that it is sometimes like herding cats. The kids absolutely love Saturday morning, but sometimes they love everything else that's going on in the background as well. Willis over beautifully to Jonah. Well done. Collegians with depth here. Coming out wide, I believe that's Anna in the middle there, and Sam from Collegians. These kids and their parents have probably been awake from 6:30 a.m. this morning. Mums and dads getting them out here to play. Some instances we have to play at the Barossa or down south. End up getting out of bed at... Well done. William Tibbett there, lovely try. Pushed it out wide. I think that's the end of the under-8s. Thank you very much for having me.
So thank you very So thank you very much for joining us. We're back. We were talking during the half-time break. This one could swing either way.
It really could. I mean, it's been so back and forth, and it's just been so open. It's been such an open game, and as I say, I mean, 1 minute it looks as though Burnside are in great territory down in the old Collegians red zone, and then suddenly they'll just. There'll either be a turnover or something will happen. Collegians aren't afraid to go and try and play that out of the red zone either. It's been a fascinating game, really fascinating game. So it's been really end to end. You're probably looking at a couple of question marks around both defences because of that, just as a natural look on point. But yeah, it could really go either way. I think the next score is vital. Certainly if it goes in Burnside's direction, that you could look that they might kill the game. But then, Coles, if they score, they're right back in the thick of it again.
Well, that's true, and we've also seen that Old Coles really can strike from anywhere. Marshall puts the ball to boot, and it's not a bad one. Old Coles have to scramble across. He manages to get himself out of trouble and stays on his feet for long enough for his support to get there, but I think he's had it stolen, and he has.
That was a brilliant decision from Blair. So what he's done there is he's chucked it in behind the defensive line, right into space, so he's kicked that straight through. But beside him, either side of him, were other attackers, and the support that he had for that was great. They pinched on the player as soon as he's got up with the ball, and we forced a turnover. But unfortunately, we've then knocked it on from there. We conceded a scrum.
Hey, Burnside have forced the turnover. So we'll have a scrum, again, not far from us, so we get a good view of it. But this is the position that Old Collegians have been the most dangerous. This scrum, that's not going to be let to go.
Although, a little bit more parity on the scrum from Collegians there, as opposed to what we've seen earlier on.
That one was never going to let to go, though. But what I was saying, I was interrupted by them playing rugby. How dare they?
Oh.
This is where Old Collegians have looked and been the most dangerous.
Yeah, they have. And
this scrum about 25 metres out.
Again, wouldn't really be surprised at all if they decided to run this one out, as they have done so far.
Let's be honest, the days of kicking from your 22 have gone. I mean, they're outside the 22. Massive scrum from Burnside. Oh, just came out, so we're going to reset.
Yeah.
Popplewell wasn't overly happy with that decision, but
I think Collegians will be.
Collegians definitely will be. They really have to suck up now and go again. Just saying as well, I was thinking it's nice that Kieru Brown being out there and Alfie in the Old Collegians. They're two kids that I coached at under 15 level.
Oh, okay, well done.
So it's nice to see them. Yeah, it's nice to see them playing Premier Grade rugby, is what I was about to say. But you know, scrum, boring in over on that far side. Is that Van Dissel who got caught?
Yeah, I got some bit of feedback from Kieru before the game and just asked, what his overall thoughts were going into it. And he just said, quite simply, I don't want to be playing lock.
fair call. I thought he was going to say, I've done well to pull myself back from that awful coach I had in under 15s. I've forgotten everything he told me.
Yeah.
There we go, a good look at the front of Mr. Jackson's shirt with the map of South Australia on it. Second time we've seen Mr. Jackson this year.
Yeah, first game was between Burnside and Brighton on the Anzac game.
Certainly loves a chat. He's having a big long one with Chris Walton over the art of front rowing. I have to say, whenever I refereed, I just left them to it. I had no idea what they were doing. Back ball to man. Good ball. Now they're going to look to build through that midfield. Fleetwood Piper will come back inside, get himself over halfway. They're going to wrap around the same way. Short ball to man. Man look to beat the first tackle. Again, good yardage after contact from man. Oh, out to that far side.
And if you look at Coles' setup here as well, what they're doing is that they are stretched all the way across the pitch from their number 14 centres all the way across. So they're asking a lot of questions of Burnside defensively, because when you're that stretched and you are stressing out the defence.
Little show and go. Didn't quite get his feet underneath him. Lamsam was there. Didn't win that one. Now they're going to go back the other way to Dawes. Dawes will step. Run hard. Again, they'll go out to that far side, and the big fella gets a roll on, much to the love of the Old Collegians bench. Then Dawes will get going. Dawes versus Walton. That battle's been going for a couple of years, you would think.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Mokomoko left it behind, but it went backwards. And as we talked about, number 14 for Old Collegians is right out here.
Hugging that touchline.
They have an overlap here.
And number 11 as well.
They've
so
brought
both wingers,
Coates right the way across.
Both wingers across on the same side of the pitch, literally just yards in front and behind each other.
So they do have an overload if they want to go. Haven't yet. Burnside, I think, have managed to sort themselves out defensively. And it looks like they've turned it over, but a penalty. 3 points would bring them closer. There's no time to panic yet.
No.
Dawes is pointing for the line out. And clearly, he has the casting vote.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say is, and as we come back and as we wait for this year, with regards to the format of this year,
Yep.
certainly has thrown up an interesting start to the year. So sitting on the top of the table from the first two games, Southern Suburbs.
No way. Okay.
So
Right.
we talk about the big four constantly, and
We do,
I
yeah.
must be honest, I'm probably as guilty of that as anybody else.
Yep.
So I'm talking about the fact that Brighton are unbeaten, but so are Souths,
Yeah.
and Souths with a plus minus of 110 points.
Yeah, fair play. I saw the first result that they had against Elizabeth, which I think was a 70-point margin,
Yeah.
from what I believe. So that's obviously done a lot of favours for their points difference. But look, fair play. You've got to play what's in front of you. I'm really intrigued by the way that this league is going to be structured out this season. I think it's overall. I think it's a brilliant thing for South Australian rugby, and you must love this because you're now not commentating on the same games every
That's very
so
true. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to a trip to the Barossa.
Yes, same, actually.
Make sure you have some of those Barossa fine food sausages on there.
Don't need to tell me twice, mate.
Yeah. Second place.
Oh, dear.
We'll come back to second place as Old Coals are really knocking on the door again. Good hard defence on the sides from Burnside. Again, they will just look to bury their way through. They can't quite get there. Or I think someone's going to go, and
Yeah.
I think, as it was Sambrook who came up, it might be him. Someone's going to go. Who is it?
It does
It
look
is
like
Sambrook,
Kieran,
yeah. I think when he came up with the ball in his hands, yeah, there are certain moments when you like, well, if it's that much of a mess and it's on the floor and you come out with your hands on it, something's gone wrong somewhere.
He puts himself in those positions as well, though, Kieran, because he's really combative for the ball, and he does, in fairness to him, he does get his fair share of turnovers. When you're in the red zone, you just got to be a little bit careful and almost try and give a little bit more for the referee there, and we've enabled the ref to make that
So
decision.
another step inside. Mokomoko worked as a dummy runner, then Snow will try and roll towards the line, doesn't quite get there. Marshall will get it, then they'll go out to Man. Man will look to burrow his way through and can't. Again, they will go out onto that far side. The big fella will take on Lamsam. Lamsam manages to get him down. Now there's space out to the left-hand side if they can go. Again, they looked short, just using the old battering ram technique. Ball is there. Oh, there's a Burnside player. If he gets away with that, he's done very, very well. And I think he has.
I think I missed that. What
And
happened?
just having a look, and it's Chris Walton using every single minute of experience, just flopped on the other side of the ball. That ball was coming out. And he just flopped on the other side of the ball, and they've got the turnover.
Fair play.
It's only illegal if you get caught. Second place in the table, who would you put your money on? Who is second place
I'd
at the
probably have
table?
to say it would be Brighton at the moment, wouldn't it?
Port Adelaide.
Okay.
So they're also 2 from 2. Plus minus of 28. Brighton in third, 2 from 2 with a plus minus of 13.
Yeah.
And then Old Coals will sit in fourth. Now Burnside's sitting sixth
Okay.
coming into this week. It is throwing up some really interesting,
Yeah.
some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, some interesting dilemmas, and it will do. Look, we appreciate that as the season goes on, that the league will, you expect, will sort itself out. And when I say that, it's, you know, we are, as a commentary team, sounding relatively surprised at the prospect of Souths and Port topping this league at the moment. But yeah, again, all of these teams have got to play each other in the first round of fixtures, so to say.
So that's the first 9 rounds.
Yeah. Okay. So first 9 rounds, and then after that, I think
It's people who are around you, I think. You'll play people who are around you, which is really going to throw up some interesting stuff, because if Souths keep winning and Port keep winning, they're going to be up there playing the likes of Brighton and Old Coals.
Yeah.
On Kaparinga at the moment, two losses. So they're languishing down in 8th at the moment, which normally you would say, well, that's not a great position to be in, but that's going to give them a second half of the season that is, they'll be playing teams that they would, without being disparaging, they'll be playing the Elizabeths and the Adelaide University and stuff like that. So it's really going to throw up some interesting stuff. Now, I appreciate we're only round 3.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's it's round 3. Everyone's still got to play each other yet, and what it looks to me like is that the big 4, and we call them the big 4 with the greatest respect to the rest of the teams in the league and in the competition, that they're playing each other. So it's always going to throw up some indifferent results, and it's always going to throw a couple of curveballs at you. But again, full credit to Port and full credit to South that's sitting in the positions that they are at the moment.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. I'm struggling to work out what was going on with the fixtures this week. Sorry, I don't know where Souths are, and I don't know what Port are. The other thing as well is what I noticed about Port, and we are going to Port, I think, very, very shortly. Their first 3 games have been at home, I think. So it's certainly thrown up, the draw has thrown up some talking points.
That's the beauty of the draw, and with the, with including the other teams, suddenly you're throwing up situations where, you
Brown will take an inside ball,
really
beats a couple of tackles, look for the offload, didn't quite get there, and the turnover has given Old Coles a chance to counter back. That will come out to this near side. Fleetwood Piper floats it over the top. Green again will find himself having to make a tackle. Now they can stretch to the other side. Dawes. Nice flat ball met with force by Walton. Now he's going to try and run around the outside. Runs around 2. Third one gets him. And just the offload didn't get there. Wow, this is end-to-end stuff. The steal.
Yeah. This could go
and it's going again. This is like 7. So he's gone with the crossfield kick to Fleetwood Piper. Bounce. Finds its way to Old Coles' hands. Ladies and gentlemen, someone's just taken the reins off this horse. It's off and running, Fleetwood Piper. Benja very, very slow to get up, holding that shoulder loosely, and we can take a breath as things have slowed down and started to resemble a rugby game again. Snow into midfield. Popplewell also slow to get up. Loopy pass, finds its way to Kurtzer. What can Kurtzer do? Kurtzer can beat the first one, then will offload back into the inside. Oh, that's Green. That's a penalty. Was there anyone there? Are we going to go under the posts? Not even no movement from Mr. Jackson at the moment. It's a lazy one, I think, more than anything else from Green.
Have to have a look at the replay if we've got one.
Just going to have a look. We have got our own personal replay. He's having a chat. So we're watching our replay. I'll keep an eye on this as well. Good inside ball from Kurtzer, and it's just as you come across, it is a high one, and that's the try line. That, for me, is a penalty try. Now, I haven't got the whistle, so it doesn't matter what I think, but for me, that's a penalty try. There's no one there. Because when a penalty is committed, you remove that player from the game. You take him away. So if he's away, if he's not there, I think the next player coming across was Hamilton, Doss, and he wasn't getting there.
Was he chest height though, Fraser, when he's made that hit?
I mean, it doesn't matter where it starts, it's where it finishes. And it finishes way up around the neck. It's over the shoulder. I've got no issue that it's a high tackle and then you remove him from the play. It's a high one. It's over the shoulder. Just take your blue glasses off for a minute.
Yeah, but it's a struggle, mate. I mean, look, I know Fraser well, and I know his
I don't think there's anything.
As well.
There's nothing malicious.
Absolutely no malice. Obviously, Snoop's having a chat now, and he's made a decision to card him.
So he's gone. So it would be a penalty. For mine, that's a penalty try. Having seen the replay a couple of times, for mine, that is a penalty try. But so they're going to be 2 men down.
Yeah, and two pivotal players, Kieran and Fraser, sitting on the bench at the moment. Look, I on the grand scheme of things, you have to say, considering that he hasn't gone and there's no penalty try.
No, he would be under the post if it was a penalty try.
And there's no penalty try. I've got to take my hat off and actually say, on the grand scheme of things, it's not a bad hit, Fraser.
It's not. Well, yeah, it's a try saver.
Yeah.
Because you take him out and it's gone. It's just one of those ones where you're chasing somebody from behind. It's almost a natural thing. Man at the back, off the top, Old Coles. Can they make the two men count? First pass doesn't quite go to hand. Now he's going to have a go on this side. Nice step on the inside. Not quite there. Going to have to go again. Real backs to the wall stuff for Burnside, and he's gone without it. So being a Burnside scrum. So this, you know, there will be Burnside players on the sideline thinking to themselves, well, we went through a period in a grand final where we had a two-man advantage and we didn't make it count, so it's doable.
Thanks for the reminder. I appreciate that.
We can get through this.
No, and they can. And you have to say from that attacking move from Collegians just then, the ball that's hit the floor before it's gone up has, you know, made them just take a bit of a backward step. Had that gone to hands, we might be looking at an entirely different scenario here at the moment. So I think Kieran's come back on the pitch, I think, by the looks of things.
Just having a look, yeah, it's Fraser's on his own in the naughty chair. Opposite us. I tell you what though, every time I watch Chris Walton play, I am impressed by his rugby IQ. He took an absolute age to get ready for that scrum.
Yeah, no, again, definitely, look, he's 33, he's played rugby for a long time.
Is he only 33?
Yeah, I know, and this is what I looked at and I thought,
paper round.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a tough one. He's clearly got quite a stressful job. But
we love him really.
He's a good lad. Again, cares immensely about the club. He's still got aspirations to want to play, to play first grade rugby. But he gives you, set piece solidity. His line out is very accurate. His throwing.
Hodgson looks to get away, and there's a charge down. Everyone's on side. Don't put your hands in the air, son. Popplewell was alive to the danger. Lamsam will pick and just try and find a hole in the middle. Doesn't quite get there. Walton, he will pick and go just to try and give them a little bit of space. Every second that they have ball in hand, it's a second where Old Coles can't make their advantage pay. Lamsam almost looked as if he was thinking about a box kick, but again,
I actually thought
just a little sniff around the outside. Marshall. He looks for a bit of space. Whistle, penalty, penalty Burnside.
Well
they
managed.
have weathered half of the storm, you would think. They weathered the two-man advantage. Now they've got a one-man advantage. And again, we do play time on in certainly in a second or third grade game. Stay on the floor as long as you can. But time will stop, Nigel.
No, very well managed in the end from Burnside there, and under a little bit of pressure, particularly again with two men in the bin at the moment, and they've come out of that with a penalty and a chance to exit this half.
So Snoop is just having a chat with the two captains. I don't think I've seen anything getting too niggly at the moment, but what I am seeing is that it's scrappy. You know, and then there's a lot of penalties at breakdowns and things like that. And the weather is looking like it's going to start coming in as well. The lights, for what they're worth, at Burnside have come on. I'm hearing rumours that there are going to be a better lighting system put in for here.
I'm pretty sure it's already been done.
Oh dear. Okay.
I think, but don't quote me on that. I've been out of the club for 3 years, so I'm not entirely sure if that is the case.
So it will be a penalty to Burnside. Hodgson will just push them down. Not a huge amount of advantage, but importantly, it's still going to be a Burnside ball, and Chris Walton is not going to go and run and get that.
No,
he will wait.
Way too experienced. He'll be pretty happy to wait.
And it looks like the Burnside fan is also, he's read the script. I think that's Kiri's dad, I think.
Koski, yeah, I think. I don't know actually. I don't want to call that and that not be the case. I'm not sure.
I'm just giving random people children.
I wouldn't be going to do that, Dave, if I were you.
Marshall off the top into midfield. Hodgson will pull it back. Sandbrook just brushed away the first challenge. Now it will start to come back. Immelman to Marshall. Marshall will straighten up and take on Mann. Mann's managed to stand him up but can't keep him up. Immelman to Walton. Walton slip past to Lamsam. Lamsam
really well there.
Beats the first one, but he has a second bite at him. Van Dissel worked as a dummy runner, then back inside to Marshall. Marshall manages to make yards again. He eats up the yards, Marshall, when he gets going. Oh, Brown gone backwards though, so just shoveled it on to Hamilton. Immelman to Hodgson. Hodgson will look for a little bit of a gap inside. There's nothing there.
Yeah, probably a sensible decision from Hodgson in the end there, because the nearest support player was right on him. So obviously he didn't feel comfortable putting him into a tricky situation there. So he's taken one for the team in for himself. He's got back out now to become an option.
Oh, inside ball again from Hodgson. Sorry, not Hodgson, that was Hamilton. Real backs to the wall stuff. And I tell you what, it looks like Burnside have weathered the storm and forced that mistake. But I think the day is done for Fraser Green. It's a change at fullback. Young man who I don't recognise.
Come on there. So no, I'm looking at Fraser over there. He looks like he's warming up, ready to come on.
Well, there's been a change somewhere. The young man with the long hair and the orange boots. Trying to work out where that change is. Is that at 13? No, 13. Yeah, no, I think the 13's gone. I think Alan Henderson has been replaced, and then Hodgson again into midfield. Nothing doing. Marshall is met strongly. Fleetwood Piper talking about punching above your weight. Oh, Hodgson thought about the drop goal.
I thought he was going for that.
Oh. We have seen one.
We have.
Lamsam, quick penalty.
Yeah, good decision.
If you score with a man down, you've done very, very well. Pass just knocked a hand from Sandbrook.
Unlucky there, and like you said, had an opportunity for Burnside to head in and end that phase with a score and end a period of time where they've been you know, in a player surplus with some points on the board as well. As it is, they haven't conceded, which they'll see as a massive positive. Fraser's just making his way back to fullback now. So I think the change came potentially. It looks as though that Tom Archer, who's had a game for the second team, has come on, and he's sitting at the wing at the moment.
I think they've taken Alan Henderson off and they've pushed Benja into 13, and the rain has started to fall. 24 points to 15. It is a lead that Burnside would be comfortable with.
Yeah.
Over an hour gone. We're in the last 20 minutes of this one.
Yeah. Be a very intriguing 20 minutes as well, especially now the conditions have changed for the worse a little bit.
Now they're going to look to that far side to Kurtzer. Oh, God, jeez.
That's good.
Yeah, good defence over there from the youngster.
Yeah, that's massive for Tom Archer, and he's come into to playing for Burnside. Now, he's not long been introduced to rugby, so for him to have been doing what he's been doing at the second grade and then be given the opportunity to come up into this is really good. It's really positive to see, and he's made a positive impact early doors there as well, which is great.
Against one of the best. I think from a standing start, Kurtzer is nigh on impossible to control, and he's done a good job.
Yeah.
but shepherd them to the touchline. As my old coach used to say, the touchline has never missed a tackle. Hodgson inside to Hamilton. Hamilton met strongly again, but does manage to fight his way to floor. Van Dissel. Obviously the injury and the shuffling of the pack means that Van Dissel's going to probably have to put a full shift in.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm not too sure whether or not they have a reserve from the second grades, whether Freddie, because Freddie's now come back into the fold.
Hamilton
again.
shows and goes, nearly made his way through the gap, but didn't quite get there. You can start to hear the rain. It's the heaviest it's been for a while. I'm blaming Old Collegians. Every time we see an Old Collegians game, we get this weather.
Yeah, it's absolutely hounding down at the moment. A lot of people taking to the safety shelter on the inside.
Actually, they're scurrying to the safety of our shelter. Dinner and a show, gentlemen, from back here. Old Collegians, what can they do? Big loopy pass.
Again.
Space outside Sambrook. Can Sambrook get there? No, he can't. Then the little in and out. Now he's got space. Can he get away? Inside ball doesn't go to hand. Old Coles can rebuild.
And again, whilst I have
that's a clean up.
Whilst I have to applaud and laud the audaciousness of Old Coles for taking those opportunities and thinking that there's something on in their own red zone, you do have to put and raise a bit of a question to the defence there. That's probably 2 or 3 key tackles that have been missed there, and we've enabled them again. I've got to stop saying we. I really do. I'm sorry, everyone.
I think that ship sailed now.
Yeah,
no point locking the stable door after the horse is bolted. But turnover after turnover, the conditions now are not conducive really to running rugby. But they will get there. It's going to be a scrum to Burnside. Still holding that 24 points to 15 advantage. But you do see a lot from Sambrook and Lamsam do like to hold these wide channels. Whenever the ball is in open play, you'll see Sambrook and Lamsam in the wide channels, which is great when you've got the ball.
Yep.
But then, as much as I love Sambrook as a player, if you put him one-on-one with a winger, I'm going to put my money on the winger every single day of the week.
He's deceptively quick and he does make his tackles, but no, I see what you're saying.
But wingers are wingers for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
If he was quick enough, he would be a winger.
You're probably looking at it and thinking, yeah, as you say, it's someone out in that field. But look, at the same token, you've probably got the same on Coles' side, where we quite regularly see Mann sitting out in the wider channels as well.
Well, Gary Mann loves to be there as well.
Exactly.
So.
No, but I think that's probably indicative to the way that the game is going. You see quite regularly, particularly down in the southern hemisphere, a lot of teams, they line up in this kind of 2-4-2 structure amongst the forwards. So you've got 2 forwards that will pitch themselves and sit in either in the 15-metre channels on either side, and then 4 whose job it is pretty much to be going up and down, and they're spaced out. And again, I mentioned it earlier, the aim there is to stress and stretch the opposition defence, but that transition there from that attack into defence is the tricky one, because as soon as you come one-on-one with a winger, you've got to look at that and think that's potentially a mismatch.
Well, there's certainly time, but at the moment it's been a case of bend and not break for Burnside. Hodgson just looking for a little bit of real estate behind Kurtzer.
Good chase as well.
It's not a bad kick, it's made them make a decision. Kurtzer sends it infield. Old Coles getting trapped in their defence. That's not where you want an offload.
And look, the way that they're playing rugby at the moment, it is high risk and high reward. And in certain situations like that, where it doesn't quite go to hands, there's always the opportunity.
They're going to go again. Another big loopy pass out this side, and he'll just put his foot down, beat the first one. Then can he get out the outside? Yes, he can. Green has got to come across. What can he do? It's a foot race now. I don't think Green's going to get there. Old Coles will score.
Fair play.
That is end-to-end stuff again for Old Coles, and that's it's a loopy pass over the top, and then it's just raw pace.
Yeah, space has opened up, and he's gone, and he's put his foot down. He's put his foot on the pedal there, and again, he skipped himself out of 2 covering tackles. So, look, whilst again it's really great, and it's good play and positive play from Collegians in that sense. It's a couple of missed tackles.
But they've got to get there.
They do. No, you're totally right.
And he ran through 2 tackles.
He did, and look, not taking anything away at all. It's a brilliant run. It's a really good run, and again, it's come from them looking to play in their own danger zone, and you've got to tip the hat to Collegians for doing that and for having a crack.
Well, they appear to have identified that that's the area of weakness.
Whether John wants a cup of tea with that slice that he's just had there.
I think that we'll blame standing foot on that one. And I tell you what, there won't be a more popular kick at goal with the Burnside fans today than that one.
Very true. So obviously Moko used to ply his trade at Burnside for a couple of seasons before jumping across.
And between the whistles, nobody really likes him here, but
whoa.
well respected after the game. I don't think anybody in Burnside likes anyone not wearing blue on a Saturday afternoon, do they?
Yeah, I'd say that's the same for most teams in this in this league as well.
So off we go again. I think should be 4 points the difference. There is Mokomoko. So there is a try in it. Stepped inside. I think one of the major problems for Burnside, if they try and fix that outside, they leave the inside open, and they've done it again. They've just gone for the loop. Fleetwood Piper looked forward for mine. He's going to get away again. Can he beat Green? Yes, he can. We asked the question. Is there time? Yes, there is time. And there is time for Burnside as well. There was a loopy pass, and now there are some tempers starting to fray out there.
Yeah, and look, again, I have to tip the hat to Coles for it, because it does take an aura of audacity to do that. But you can see it within their attacking structure, and you see it when you see the try again as well. They're lining these guys up on the left-hand side, and they're lining these guys up on their wing, and all it's doing is each time that someone punches through a tackle, even if it's made tackle, they've still got options of players that are running into that space that's been created as well. So, yeah, look, from an attacking structure point of view, it's working. It's paying dividends. But again, you need solutions to this as a defence, and so far this has happened repetitively, and we've not solved it.
It's rinse and repeat. It's almost a carbon copy of the last try. And hopefully someone who's watching in old Collegians colours can tell me the name of that number 14, because he's been outstanding in this second half.
He has, he's had a very good game.
I think he's on I think that's a hat-trick for him as well. I think he got one first half over on the far side, and obviously these two. And a penalty for Mouth.
Wow.
From the try-scoring side.
That's weird.
That is weird. So the penalty to Burnside, and they're obviously going to try and push it down in the corner.
I wonder whether that's come from a Collegians player that's just rubbing it in slightly to one of the players, and Snoop's taking umbrage against it.
So there we go, Ned Morecambe. Is number 14 for Old Coles. Another one who seems to have come through the touch feeder system for Old Coles. Hodgson into midfield to Hamilton. Nice link-up play again from Hamilton. I've actually really enjoyed Hamilton's game today.
Yeah, he's had a good game
today. Worked really well as a link player in that number 12 position. Hodgson to Walton. Back inside to Hodgson. Hodgson will look for a little bit of space on the outside. Can't find any. Whistle. Old Collegians penalty. We are getting very, very close to the end of this one. Have Old Coles managed to pull it out of the fire? Do Burnside have anything left? Is there a sting to the tail? Old Coles will have a line out inside their own half. And again, you've got to be thinking, if you are this near side winger, like he sat back, he sat a fair way back. Now they're just going to look straight and hard up the middle. They can go again to this near side if the ball comes their way. They've got numbers again. Box kick this time. And the youngster does well again.
He's done well there, Tom.
Just reset it again. Good from Archer. Then Sambrook showed inside and then put his head down and go. Probably the world's most useless dummy. He was never going to do anything else. Penalty.
Well, it's set up really nicely for a final.
Oh, has he got the leg? I don't like where your standing foot would be at this point. It's a big, big kick with these conditions. Just having to think about it. Fraser Green did wander up to it and then walked away. So Hodgson's going to push him down into the corner. And they do push him into the corner. We saw the driving more once.
Yeah, just
in
towards the end of the first half, which was definitely an area of success for Burnside then. So just wondering whether or not this is something that they're going to try. My guess is yep.
Well, Timmy Dawes was very instrumental in stopping it last time, and there's a good sack again this time. Straight to ground, Immelman to Hodgson. Hodgson step back inside. Questions about whether that was high or not. Walton will try and make his way to the line, draped in Old Collegians players. Hamilton just sent that on, and then Benja will look for a little bit of space. Almost a little bit isolated, and again you talk about messy, and it is messy. Penalty. And that's bang in front. That's the question. Fraser Green hasn't even thought about asking the question for that one. And they've gone with the scrum.
Okay.
Just wondering whether there would be time for, there should be time for, there would have been the time for the penalty. And
yeah,
then to go again.
I think from Blair's perspective, he's looked at that and he's gone, look, it's win or bust. If they get 3 points here, yes, they'd get the ball back and they'd be tied, so there'd be another opportunity. But we've got, I think, what, 2 minutes left of the game, so.
And I'm not renowned for my maths, but I think 5 points is better than 3.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think that's exactly where Blair's head's at the moment as well. Hence he's made the call he has.
I've still got a bit of time to get this Northern Hemisphere out of me, though. I'll be honest with you. And I think we got a score from around the grounds. Not many, but I think Onkaparinga are leading over Brighton. So another season. Thompson turns, and it looks like Old Collegians have nicked it. They have nicked it. Will they go from here? They're just going to send it towards Fraser Green. It sits up for him, goes back over his shoulder, but it's gone backwards. Can he find a spot? Manages again to hold on long enough for his support to get there. Now they're going to look out to the left-hand side. Bounces in front of Hamilton. Hamilton, again, that no-look pass from Hamilton. Coming back for something, a penalty. Another penalty for offside. If Old Collegians win this one, they've done it by the skin of their teeth. Fraser Green went nowhere near that one. They are going for it. It is win or bust.
Yeah.
That's a great nudge. That's about as good as it gets off the boot of Hodgson.
Yeah, very good kick from Hodjo there, and he's, again, put him in a good position to ask the question of the forwards. Guys, what can you do with this?
So Walton will need to find a target. No, didn't, but it's going to come back their way. Immelman. Lamsam will step in.
Yeah, just seemingly taking a bit more of a direct route at the moment.
Out to Marshall. Marshall will knock on the door. That door is Gary Man-shaped and was immovable. Hodgson, short ball to Benja. Again, big tackle in midfield. Slow ball, Immelman to the left to Marshall. Marshall met by Snow, inching ever closer. It'll show and go. Arm is out for a penalty.
Or is it back in again?
Marshall. Can't find anything there.
It's on a knife edge, this is, isn't it? Good God.
Little in and out from Hamilton. Can't get there. Counter ruck comes from Old Coles. Does enough to make a mess of it. Archer. Walton again. He's met. Immelman to Lamsam. Can Lamsam find a way through? No, he can't. Little offload to Immelman. It was a penalty.
Yeah.
He's going to talk to someone. I think he's just going to talk about the fact that we've had, what, 4 unanswered penalties at the moment.
Yeah, 4 unanswered, but look, it's...
Who's he asking for? I think it's Mokomoko.
John Mokomoko.
It's going to be a
decision will go down well amongst
popular
the Burnside
yellow
faithful
card
for sure, but yeah, this is really, really intriguing to see what's going to happen from here. I mean,
I think scrum again. Have they called the scrum again? Because of course it'll be 8 versus 7. They lost the last one in a very similar position. We must be close to the end now.
Yeah, I've got no idea if he's been playing.
We'll be in red time. We are in red time. We do play time on for the Cooper's Premier Grade. 24 points to 27. Burnside is asking for a hero. Is there one? Sambrook is the first to stand up. Can't get through. Counter ruck comes from Old Coles. Penalty.
Wow.
Is that going to be a second player in the bin?
And I'm wondering whether or not some of the frustration from the Burnside
Quick one
there is...
Quick one! Lamsam! Lamsam will go over!
Wowee.
Lamsam gets there, ladies and gentlemen, for 2 weeks running. Could the last play of the game be the one that wins it?
Well, what a finish there from Burnside, and look, constant pressure, and it's told in the end, and Nigel's come through, and he's got the score on, but Collegians must just be cursing their luck at the moment. I mean, two games on the trot, 2 last-minute snatches from the jaws of victory, but look, yeah, what an amazing end to the game this has been. Flat out defence also from Coles on that, but Burnside just kept knocking and kept rapping on the door, and they've got, you'd have to say, we think that they probably got the result now.
Interesting though, well you say they've got the result now.
But they've gone back.
But they've gone back.
Yeah.
Normally, someone would have asked the question, or at least Snoop would have said, this is it. And they wouldn't be as they are. You would see them being ready to go off, because they would know, have we got more in this? Is there more time? Flags go up and we are going.
Yeah, we've still got more to play.
So there is time. Is there a twist? Is there a twist? Is there time? Morecambe has been absolutely outstanding today. Deep kick, Sambrook. Sambrook dealt with by Kurtzer. Ball's going to come back Burnside's way. Sniff of a counter ruck, then it will go out into touch, and Burnside have managed it. You have to be honest, they weathered a storm, Tom. And Old Collegians for 2 weeks in a row have been dashed on the rocks of the final minute.
Yeah, I mean, they're two massive blows to take early days in the season, but you've got to say, for Burnside, they've managed to grind out a really, on the grand scheme of things, a fantastic result. A win's a win, but you don't quite, it's not as dramatic as when you do it right in the last stages of play there as well. That's just going to send everyone on a massive high leading into next week for them against Uni. Collegians are going to have to regroup again. It's going to be a tough mental shift for them as well. They played some really good rugby, some really good rugby. You've got to give credit where it's due. They're playing football out of their red zone. They're having a try. They're looking up and trying to see some opportunities. Yeah, Burnside just right at the last there have come good. It's classic Nigel. I don't know whether this guy is 45 years of age or what. And he's got something out of nothing. Look, pulsating game, brilliant finish, and Burnside with a victory.
Well, this season should be based in the Gold Coast, because my word, it's a roller coaster so far. Join us again next week, where I'm sure you will not be disappointed again, ladies and gentlemen. From me, Dave Webb, from Tom Hankey, everyone here at Space Quake Sports, and thank you as well to everyone for sitting around and watching, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolutely wonderful afternoon of rugby, and we will see you again soon. That's how you do it. Shook off a couple. He's still going. Butler over in the corner. That's the line. Over the line he rolls. Burnside. Burnside. Oh, Collegians have turned it over. Oh, he's got it again. He's got to go. Spry will do very well. Spry will go. Port Adelaide will push out, and they will push